Hello, everybody. Next up, OLAPLEX.
Hey everyone, I am so excited to be here with you for the next hour here with OLAPLEX. As you can see, this may look a little bit different than what you guys have been looking at for the last couple of days, but I'm here to talk all things OLAPLEX mixology. We're gonna talk about how to use this in your lightener, in your color, in all sorts of different services, and we're also gonna be breaking down some of those truths and some of those myths about bond building. My name is Ashley Hofstrand, and I am with the OLAPLEX Global Education Team. And I'm so excited, like I said, to be here and with Deepa Squall. What a fun past couple of days this has been. So I'm ready just to dive right in. But before I do, I'm gonna be here for the first half, and then I've got somebody special coming up with us for the second half that's gonna be demonstrating on a model, so don't worry, you will get to see another pretty face. But for now, I've got all of these gorgeous girls with me. So before we dive in as well, you know, I really want everybody to remember the first time that this gold bottle either entered your break room, your salon sales consultant told you about it, or if you're like me, my clients came in asking for this. And I remember this fondly, this gold bottle, more than a decade ago. Can you guys believe that it's been almost a decade since OLAPLEX changed the hair care industry, creating a brand new category that we know as bond building? So bond builders are definitely the word right now. So what is a bond builder, and why is OLAPLEX so important to be utilizing not only in all of your chemical services that you're offering, but also being able to use it as a treatment? And really the importance comes down to those bonds. So the bonds inside the hair is what gives it its strength, its structure, and its integrity. So OLAPLEX has its patented bond building technology known as, you guys ready for it? Bis-aminopropyl diglycol dimaleate. Yes, that's a mouthful. So we like to call it our bond building technology, or bis-aminopropyl for short. But that is what is exclusive to OLAPLEX. And what this has the ability to do is to penetrate deep inside the hair shaft, strengthening those disulfide bonds from the inside out. Therefore, our hair has the structure, the stability, the shape, and the health is what's being taken care of during the chemical service and after. So what we love about OLAPLEX as a complete bond builder is the fact that it's able to give you healthy hair now, and it's able to give you healthy hair for the future. So why is this important for us as colorists? Because we're damaging those disulfide bonds every time we do a chemical service. So OLAPLEX is the only one that has the ability to rebuild both ends of that disulfide bond. So if you think of the ladder in the hair, so both ends of that disulfide bond is getting strengthened every time you're adding this into your chemical services. So enough about that, because I'm going to talk about it throughout the next 30 minutes, but let's go ahead and dive in. And let's go ahead and look at exactly how it is we go ahead and mix this. So some of these things, if you've been using OLAPLEX for a while, might be a refresher. Maybe you've been using it wrong this whole time because you were just self-taught, or if you're new to OLAPLEX, I'm gonna talk about the importance of our mixing chart. So on our mixing chart, you guys can see that we have all of the different services, from colors to a standalone treatment, balayage and lightening services, and even into our relaxers. So this sheet is very important to make sure that we're following along, because we want to make sure that we're adding the correct amount of number one, if you guys can see, our number one bond multiplier into the products that we're working with. So first up, what we're going to do is we're going to play around with some bleach. So I think that lightener is probably one of the most popular services that OLAPLEX is known for, but it goes into so much more. But why don't we go ahead and just start there? So I went ahead and measured out, and I have 2 ounces of powder lightener, and I'm going to come through and I'm going to add in on my scale here the proper amount of developer, and we want to make sure that we're mixing up our lightener and our developer before we go in and add our number one bond multiplier. I've had some people, and even I've done it in the past, where I just added the number one into the powder lightener first, And we want to make sure that we mix up that lightener really good before we go in and add it. So now here's a big common misconception. We're going to go in. This is our first, did you know? Did you know that using OLAPLEX in your lightener is not going to cause you to need to change your developer? It's not going to slow down the processing time. And the biggest reason why is we want to make sure that we're using the exact amount that is on that card, which I've already dropped. So here we go. Okay, so what we can look at is all of this is pre-developer weight. So you want to go to what you used before you added that developer. So we're in the 1 to 2 ounce range. So I'm going to go over here and I only need 1/8. So let me show you guys. It's not, where is my little, that is it right there. So 1/8 of the OLAPLEX #1 bond multiplier, and we're gonna add that right, squeeze that right into our lightener. Then we wanna go through and mix that in. So one of another things, did you know, I'm full of them today, you guys. I'm full of the did you knows. So did you know that the #1 bond multiplier has the highest concentration of our bisaminopropyl than any other product that we have? So this bad boy packs a punch. We're gonna talk about the #2 bond perfector in just a minute, but a lot of times we're either overusing, is usually why you might have some sort of processing time issues, or like you really don't want to be wasting it. Guys, just a little bit goes a long way, so make sure you're following that chart. All right, let's bring in our first little girl. She's our little girl, she's beautiful woman. And what I want to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about the differences here, but I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about placement, and then we'll talk a little bit more about other things that we went in and did on here. But as you guys can see, a lot of that, this is a raw highlight, and that's on purpose, and I'll tell you guys why in just a bit. But you guys can see this packed a nice bit of a punch right around her face without it being a really thick money piece. So how we did this was I came in, and this is done in just 12 foils. So I went ahead and got started on our other girl that I'm going to show you guys here. So I have 6 foils on one side, and then I'm gonna go in and put the other 6 on this side. So as I started, just right around her hairline, I took diagonal back slices right at her hairline in this bottom corner. And then what I'm gonna do is, before I just come through and slice right at the top, I'm taking this corner piece. So you guys can see, right? It's got a little bit of that curve that's in there. And so I'm gonna take this corner piece in a really thin slice. And I wanna show you guys a foil because I really wanna be able to show you guys that this consistency of the lightener has not changed whatsoever. So now I'm going in and we're just gonna start adding the lightener into this thin slice to get some maximum lightness around her face. And as a hairdresser, you know, my biggest concern is always the health and integrity of the hair. So with OLAPLEX added into all of my services, I know that I am helping to lessen the amount of damage that's gonna happen. So I'm helping to stop those disulfide bonds from breaking during this chemical service. But using the #1 and the #2 together, I'm able to go in and I'm able to prevent damage, but then I'm also able to flood the hair with the #2 and give a ton of treatment throughout the hair as well. So that way our bond building technology is touching every bit of the hair during a service. So this next one I'm gonna do is, now I did that corner piece to connect. So I'm gonna come through with another thin slice right through the front. And using that lightener. So what colors, what lightener can OLAPLEX go in? It can go in any color brand that you guys use. We play with everybody, you guys. So whichever color line you're already using, please add your OLAPLEX in. And the biggest thing about this as well, and what we get asked out in the field a ton, probably one of the number one questions I would have to say is, do I need to use OLAPLEX if my color or lightener already has a bond builder inside? And my answer to that is yes, absolutely. You still want to be using OLAPLEX in your services and in all of your colors because, like I mentioned at the beginning, only OLAPLEX can do what we do. So we have that patented bond building technology that's exclusive to us, and we're the only ones that can go in and relink both ends of that disulfide bond. So it is very important to be able to do. It's wonderful what these other bond builders do. Everything is helping with the health, everything is helping with shine. But again, only OLAPLEX can do what we do, and that is to repair both ends of the disulfide bond. So for me, if my main goal, right, is to have the healthiest amount of hair possible for my clients and to prevent future damage, of course I want to be adding OLAPLEX into every single one of my services. All right, so went ahead and just finished that off. I'm going to grab one more foil right here. So now that we finished this off, we have 4 foils around our hairline, so 2 diagonal back slices right above her ear. We connected that corner with a slice, and then 2 very thin slices right at her front hairline that's connecting at the part. So now I'm going to drop the rest of this hair, and I'm gonna come back about an inch behind, a couple inches behind the rest of these hairlines. And at her natural part, I'm just going to, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in and take a nice weave instead of a slice. So now I'm gonna come through and take that foil. So now here's another way that I love to use our OLAPLEX in all of our services. So I'm gonna put this last foil in. So now you guys can see that we're coming through, we're doing this lightening service. We have our number 1, so we know that we're mitigating that damage as I'm lightening. But what's happening to the rest of the hair that's staying out? And I think that the biggest thing is nowadays a lot of us are doing these lived in colors, right? So we're kind of, not necessarily doing a full foil on our guests when they're coming in, but maybe their hair still needs some treatment. Maybe their hair still needs some love. And also, one of the biggest things that we always get asked is, I always have so much more number 2 than I have number 1. What can I do with it? So here's one of my favorite ways to utilize number 2, the Bond Perfector, as a mini treatment. So we've been talking about adding number 1 into all of our chemicals, all of our colors, our lighteners. So now we want to talk about the number 2 Bond Perfector. So number 2 Bond Perfector is the second step to any service that it is that you're doing. So whether you're doing a treatment, which I mentioned my girl's Nikki is gonna be coming up later, she's gonna tell you guys all about our Strength and Repair standalone treatment, or you're using it as an additive, you always wanna make sure that you're finishing off with the number 2 every time you're using number 1. However, there's an array of different ways to use number 2. So one of the ways that I like to do this is I keep a nice little bowl at my station next to me, and we're gonna go ahead and just squeeze out some of the number 2. And with this, what I'm gonna do now is, and you can do this with your hands, I just like to do it with a brush sometimes because I feel like it just looks a little cleaner, looks a little bit more professional. But now what I'm gonna do with the number 2 is I'm gonna paint this on and really saturate all of that hair in between the foils. So now everything that's sitting out is still getting treatment while it's processing. I would say this is probably one of my favorite ways to use number 2. I don't know. I always say my favorite ways, but then the technique I'm gonna show you guys next really probably is my favorite way to use it. So again, don't be afraid to go ahead and really saturate this. Here's a few did you know moments why I'm coming through and saturating this hair. So did you know that OLAPLEX is not a protein treatment? All right, so that's probably one of our biggest common misconceptions that we get. No, we are not a protein treatment. We are a reparative treatment. The other did you know, here's another big thing. Did you know that number 2 is not a conditioner? So a lot of times people might be using number 2 or our number 3 Bond Perfector in an incorrect way. So you want to shampoo out your number 2. So this is not a deep conditioner. Again, everything that we are is for strength and repair from the inside out. And this really, to me, is the important part for us as creatives and for us as hairdressers. So, for us, I always say, the foundation of creativity starts and ends with healthy hair. So why wouldn't you want your client's color, to last longer, be more vibrant, offer as much extra little treatments as you possibly can, and of course make your guys yourself some more money behind the chair, because every time I'm adding OLAPLEX into the hair, I'm making sure that I'm charging for it. So again, you guys can see what an easy way just to go in and use number 2, and you can come through and saturate everything that's through it. Another nice way to use the number 2 in your foiling as well is in between your foils. If you get some little guys, if you like to do air touch, or if you get some little guys that start to stick up, you can go ahead and just place that down and that foil sticks. So then as you move on to that next spot, you're getting lots and lots of repair and strength and everything that's going on through the hair. So now what's great about this is you're gonna let this process. We know that it has to be shampooed out, so it's a perfect time to go in and add this in as a mini treatment. Another great way that we like to talk about utilizing number 2 as a mini treatment is how many of us, still are doing those weekly, who's doing weekly? Maybe you're doing weekly still, but who is in there is still doing our, just our basic, I shouldn't even say our basic, what am I trying to say here? Our 5 ends, like our 5 ends, our 6 ends, just our nice base breaks that we're doing that's coming in, going ahead and using number 1 in the color, but then coming through with your number 2 and just really saturating those ends and getting mini treatments as much as you can anytime you're coloring. All right, so I'm going to take this off so I can grab this girl. So like I had said, is I went ahead and left these highlights raw. And the reason why I wanted to do that is you guys can't see, well, you can see, you guys can't feel her hair today. But that's one of the biggest things that I want to challenge you guys. If you have ever, if you've never used OLAPLEX, or if you've never really put it to the challenge, is to, on your doll head, do 1/2 with lightener and OLAPLEX number 1 Bond Multiplier, and then do the other half with your lightener and without OLAPLEX. And you're really gonna see the power. So you're gonna be able to see it as the hairdresser, mostly in the fact, I love being able to look at this. So, again, some common misconceptions is that it's gonna mess with your formula or it's gonna mess with the consistency, but look at how even this consistency is. Again, these are raw highlights that were done. And to be honest with you, I even think the side that has OLAPLEX looks a little bit brighter, right? So we get this nice even consistency that's going on. You're gonna get that shine throughout the hair, but at the end of the day, no matter how good of a hairstylist you are, no matter how good you make the client's hair look when they leave the salon, it's all about how it feels, you guys. So when you start to run your fingers through the hair with OLAPLEX versus the side without, I'm telling you right now, the proof is in that alone. So I would definitely challenge, if you are somebody who's, like you said, maybe you haven't tried it yet before, really go in and see the power of what it does. Because again, it's not just about what you see, it's about what you feel as well. Okay, so I talked about lightener and we talked about other ways to use number 2. And I think what we're gonna do next is actually a very underutilized way in using the OLAPLEX into your services. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna switch out in my lab a little bit here, you guys. So now I'm gonna come in and we're gonna play around with some semi-permanent, and this could be your demi, your semi, some more fun colors that we have going on. So as you guys can see, I've got a couple of these fun girls in the back. And what this is this is by going in and utilizing the number 1 in the color, which we're gonna mix in just a second, but then using number 2, not only as a treatment, but to really soften and play around with the tones of this hair. So I'm gonna set her back down, and we're gonna go in, and I am using, thanks to Deepest Squall, I am using a Funk Hue color. So this was really fun to play around with. I'm using the color Wine. Let me go and put this on because nobody wants to have wine stained hands by the end of this. So going back to our mixing chart, so we were on lightener. So now we're gonna come down here to all hair color. So again, this color, this 2 ounces that I measured out in my clear bowl, this is 2 ounces without any developer. So of course in a true direct dye, a pigmented color, we're not adding developer. But if you were gonna be going in and doing, like I said, your 5N, you would do your 2 ounces and then your 2 ounces of developer, but it's not gonna be 4 ounces that you're mixing for, it's going to be the 2 ounces that you're mixing for. And again, really just looking at how concentrated the number 1 is compared to the number 2. So our 2 ounces of color, I just look like I didn't know, you guys. Like, seriously? It's all right. All right, so 1/16 of an ounce. So look at what little amount of this that you're using into your color that's just giving you all of that insurance, that strength and shine that you need while you're doing your service. Okay, so I went ahead and mixed that in. And again, you guys can see it's not affecting the consistency once it's all mixed in. And I talked about, number 1, having the highest concentration of that patented bond building technology. It is so, so highly concentrated, as is most of our products, but especially in that number 1. And I think a big common misconception is that you use the same amount of number 2 that you do for number 1. And that's not the case. So you wanna be very, very mindful of how much number 1 it is that you're using in all of your products. But as you guys will see in just a little bit, you wanna make sure that you're fully saturating that hair with the number 2 at all times. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna come through, and I'm just gonna apply in this front quadrant so that we can see, and I'm just gonna apply this like I am doing a root touch-up. So just diffusing this out. And one of the things too that I like, if you're working on shorter hair when you're doing this is, especially with my direct dyes, she's already blonde, so I really want to kind of make sure that I'm getting that even saturation in there. So I like to go on top of the section and then come underneath the section. And this really helps when I get to like these front little hairlines right here. So by coming through and adding that color onto the top of the section, now when I lift and apply tension and pressure, right, you can see those little guys are getting caught into that previous section already. So we're just gonna come through and use all of this. So one of the biggest things too that I always, like to share is, are you explaining the importance of using a bond builder additive into your formulas to your clients? If you are not, I would highly suggest you start talking about it to them and explaining to them not only is the damage happening once they leave the salon, what's being caused, but what happens during a chemical process. Because especially nowadays, I don't know if you guys are like me, but everybody reads the internet, everybody has TikTok, and every single one of our clients thinks they are a hairdresser. So they're gonna come in with knowledge already, so why not teach them something new, or make sure you're informing them the correct way as to why this is important. I always get asked a lot, do you add on, do you upcharge? Whatever your verbiage is in your salon, you need to do what's comfortable for you. For me, the health of the hair is non-negotiable, and my clients know that. So they are ready. Every single one of my prices reflects adding in OLAPLEX into my services. So for me, it's always an OLAPLEX color. It's always gonna be an OLAPLEX highlight. So whatever it is that we're doing, it's gonna contain it no matter what. So instead of just always going back and forth and looking at charging and what do, I just decided to make it all inclusive and add that in. So that's really a good tip to make sure that you are, making your money off of the investment. And that's the other thing, the investment of OLAPLEX in our salon intro kit really is endless, because the amount of applications you get, whether you're doing a color application, lightener, you're doing it for treatments, it's all gonna vary, but the amount of money that you're able to invest in yourself and make by only making your client's hair better, I mean, why wouldn't you wanna do it? All right, so we got a last of those few little short guys. Like I said, I just wanted to kind of work on this front quadrant before we went in and had some fun. I mean, we still have to get this off of our skin, don't we? All right. So now that we've gone through and added that color, what we're gonna do is take a bowl. There's 2 ounces of the number 2 Bond Perfector in our bowl. And what I'm gonna do is just add, I like to start with, whichever you wanna say, a pea size amount, a ribbon. I'm gonna do just a little droplet right into the number 2 directly. And then what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna go and just use this brush because we're gonna come through and mix. So now I'm taking that number 2 and creating this softened, pastelized version of the color that I just went in and put on to the roots. So then we can come through. And again, I do like to start at the top just because this way now I can lay this over. I mean, we can picture that we're doing the entire head. But for time purposes, we're just gonna kind of apply this onto a few of these different spots so that you guys can see. But you're getting all of that goodness of our bisaminopropyl. So we're going in, we are repairing those disulfide bonds, we are strengthening the hair from the inside out, and we're getting a really beautiful customized color melt. And lots of dimension going on. So what else do we have in our salon professional only portfolio? So my girl Nikki, when she comes back on in a little bit, is gonna be able to talk to you guys a little bit more in depth about how she likes to use those products. But the other products that we have that are for salon professionals only is we have our broad spectrum chelating treatment. And this is a great pre-service that you want to do. What that's going to do is there's no mixing, it's just one product in the bottle that you need that's going to get rid of all of the heavy mineral buildup, hard water. It's going to get rid of your calcium, your copper deposits. So it's really just going to give you a beautiful, clean palette of hair for whatever color service that it is that you're going to go in and do. So I always like to think of it kind of like a reset and a recharge before you go in and do any service on the hair. Now, if someone was coming in and just had a ton of heavy product buildup, or they just had a ton of, that hard water buildup as well, and you were only going to be doing a haircut on them that day or a hairstyle for them that day, it's still such a great product to use because it's going to restore the hair really back into that cleansed palette that we like to talk about by removing everything, but it doesn't strip any moisture. So the broad spectrum chelating treatment is a cortex cleanse. So it gets deep down into the hair shaft, but it's not going to be stripping the hair of any moisture. So again, everything we do at OLAPLEX is all about healthy, shiny, touchable hair. And by adding that into every single one of your services, you're gonna start to see the shine is gonna come back into the hair. The manageability is gonna come back into the hair. All right, let me just do this one last little section, and then we're gonna swap her out into our finished lady in our mixology lab. See, that's why you guys can see why I went ahead and did things a little bit differently than what everyone else has been doing. So we would go through and do this throughout the entire hair. So this got such a nice creamy consistency. You guys can see that, right? So it's gonna start to mix and blend, and there's an array of different ways that you can utilize the, the fashion colors into the number 2 to soften it. So let me go ahead and swap her out, and let me get this lady on right here, because look at how gorgeous that is, right? So this is that finished result by looking, like I said, I went ahead and used the Funk Hue, courtesy of Di Pasquale. Thank you, Joe. And I went and did that wine, and then that is what was diffused out into that pre-lightened blonde hair. And look at this really great, beautiful color that it gave. So again, another fun way to utilize your number 2 in a different way. All right, you guys, can you believe that that's been 30 minutes already? Because I can't believe that's been 30 minutes already. But I know that you guys definitely either had an old memory re-come up for you guys, or we did learn something new about our OLAPLEX mixing chart. And I can't wait to share all of these amazing promotions that we have going on for you guys. So the biggest one I want to talk about is this salon intro kit. This bad boy is 20% off today because of this. And actually, I shouldn't say today. Today through April 14th. And you guys want to make sure you get your hands on this. It never goes on promotion. So whenever it does, whether you're new to us or you're old, if you're old to us, you're already running because you know that this is a great deal and you want to be sure to get it. So if you're new to us and you're wanting to try out the ultimate bond builder that is going to prevent damage, and it's also going to give you healthy hair for the future, be sure to check out our salon intro kit. And Nikki is going to be coming up here in just a minute, and she's going to be sharing all things hair for you guys, and you're going to love it.
I am Nikki Wright Rudolph. I have been in the hair care industry for over 30 years. I've been with the OLAPLEX Advocate program since 2017. And here is my beautiful motto. I will be showing you the OLAPLEX. So the first step that we always do with our OLAPLEX is definitely making sure that we are doing a deep cleanse. And what we use is start off with our maintenance bond clarifying, I'm sorry, it's the 4C. This is the first step. We want to make sure that we get deep down cleanse into that. After that, we want to do our bond chelator. This, I really love it. It gets deep down. Ashley actually mentioned this earlier today. So we always want to start off with a clean canvas, and it's very important to start that. Then we want to go in and do our bond repair treatment, which is our OLAPLEX number 1 and our number 2. After we rinse that out, we shampoo it with our number 4, and we also end it with our 4-in-1. The key thing about our OLAPLEX is making sure that the hair, once it's straightened out, that hair comes back without damage, and as soon as you straighten it back out and shampoo, those curls are back there healthier than they were before. The reason why the OLAPLEX is so important is because we want her to be able to get back to that curl without having any type of damage. So that's why I created the OLAPLEX.
I love that. And by working with you, Nikki, I've learned so much about all different types of textures of hair. And my most fun fact is that curly hair has more disulfide bonds, is that right?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
So why is that so important to make sure that the integrity and strength of those disulfide bonds are intact?
It's important because they do not, most of my clients are 100% natural and they do not want to lose their curl. So OLAPLEX does go in there and strengthen the hair to keep their hair intact and will not allow that hair to lose the integrity of its curl.
I love that. And I love that you were saying most of your clients wear their hair natural. So you are all about keeping that strength, that health, that integrity. Why don't you share with us a little bit about the pre-setup and what it is that you did? I talked a little bit about the broad spectrum chelating treatment, but that's what you went ahead and used on our model. What was your name again?
Antigone.
Antigone, see, I should have known that. So what did we go ahead and use and talk about the prep?
So the most important thing when we are doing any type of straightening with the hair is to make sure that that canvas is completely clean and free. So you want to start off with our number 4C. You want to do that first. Leave that on for 3 to 5 minutes, rinse it out, and then we'll go in with our broad straightening chelator. What I love about this is that, again, I think Ashley spoke about it earlier today, is it's just one system. You don't have to do any mixing or anything, and the pH is on a 9. After we do that, we go in with our standalone treatment, and this is ½ ounce of number 1, and you mix it up with 3 ounces of water. Leave that on for 10 minutes, and we add our number 2 on top of that. This is where the strength and repair comes. So we're actually repairing that hair before we break that hair down. That is left on for up to 10 minutes, and then we go in, shampoo it out with our number 4, and we want to do our 4-in-1. All of these are professional products. And the other part for the retail will be our number 8 that matches this.
Yeah, that 4-in-1 moisture mask, we talked about concentration earlier, and the OLAPLEX number 1 bond multiplier has the highest concentration of bis-aminopropyl, and it also is a very concentrated product. And I would say for most concentration, the next runner-up is going to be that 4-in-1 moisture mask. So that professional back bar, however you want to call it, stylist-only moisture mask has up to 100 uses in that one bottle. Why don't you pick that up again, Nikki, and show them that black on the other side of it that shows up to 100 uses in that bottle. So again, highly concentration. You know, we talk about that OLAPLEX is a strength and repair treatment, and we talked about the fact that number 2 is not a deep conditioner. We talked about that it is not a protein treatment, and it's not really adding any of that. Its purpose is to relink those disulfide bonds. So when hair is lacking moisture, we want to make sure that we're hitting it with that 4-in-1 moisture mask. So we love doing the strength and repair standalone treatments. Pre-service, if you're a color corrector, you can use that in between your lightening services. There's just a ton of different ways that you can use that service.
And what I really love about that moisture mask is that it is for all textures and type. And it actually helps to build those bonds as well, because all of our OLAPLEX retail has OLAPLEX, the bis-amino inside of each of them.
So we did the prep, and now she came back. Oh, she didn't come back to the shampoo bowl.
Nope, not yet.
Because Miss Nikki likes to do something special at the shampoo bowl with her stylers. So why don't you tell us about that?
The shampoo bowl, while their hair is wet, I like to go in with our number 9, which is our serum.
Show me how much you use of that.
What I like to do is start it off in quad. So I'll take the hair and part it into 4, and I'll put 1 pump in each quad. Make sure that I'm praying hands going down with it, and take them back to my chair. This allows that while the pores and cuticles are open, it allows that serum to go in there and build that hair up and protect it from the blow dryer. The next step I do, depending on the texture of the hair, how much hair they have, we'll go in with our number 6. 1 squirt is all you need, a pea size in each quad. Then I'll blow dry it. Sometimes I'll even cocktail our number 6 and our number 7 together, depending on the hair texture. But all the time, I'm always going to end with my number 7. Pretty simple to use. This is one of my favorite ones. So we do a couple taps.
I love that. And we've got that going on promotion through this. This is our bond building blowout kit that was created specifically to help get you through this OLAPLEX if that's what you're looking to go in and do. So this has our number 6 bond smoother. It has the number 7 bonding oil, and this also has our volumizing blow dry mist. Now, is this something that you would use sometimes when you're doing the OLAPLEX? Would you ever use the volumizing blow dry mist?
I will. I would definitely use that for my finer girl hair, my girls that have more fine hair. And it also has a heat protector, which I really love, up to 450 degrees.
So then Nikki went in and she blew dry all of the hair, and then you can see the technique she's coming through and utilizing that number 7 bonding oil in the different subsections as she came through and did her flat iron. Now I know you've got some great tips on some flat iron tips, so why don't you go ahead and share your tips and tricks with us?
It's always best to make sure that you can see through it. Now, I've already actually flat ironed her hair with the one press, so I'm going in now and actually just creating a little style to it. So the key thing is always go from north to south and being able to see through it.
I love that tip of being able to see through it, so you can really make sure you're getting that control from roots to ends.
And you're also protecting that hair and making sure that you're distributing the product correctly.
Now, Nikki, you're always so great about teaching the in-salon products and then teaching your clients and your guests about the matching take-home products that go with that. Now, how important is the retail products or the at-home products, as we like to call them at OLAPLEX? How important is that for your clients to be taking home with you after the OLAPLEX? And are you, what are some tips and tricks on how you're educating your clients to recreate this or keep it fresh while they're at home in between the salon?
So it's important to let them know that you are breaking your bonds every day. So you want to relink them. And I always tell them, if you are using the product and you are investing into it, why not take home what you need? So with that, we do have our, I call it the baby standalone treatment, which is the number 0 and the number 3. And I always have them to make sure that they're doing that weekly. Then we have our 4 and 5, which is our standard daily shampoo and conditioner, but with our number 8, that would mimic our 4 and 5. Our 4 and 1. Most of my girls do go home with the moisturizing, the deep penetrating, which is our Moisture Mask number 8. So yes, it's very important to make sure that you are taking care of that hair at home, and don't waste your investment. Spend a lot of money in a salon. Want to make sure you're taking care of that hair at home.
And I think it's important to let them know that it's not just us as hairdressers that are causing that damage. Daily life and what they're doing at home also is what's going to affect that. You talked a little bit about the 0 and the number 3. And I love that you just reference that as kind of, you come into the salon for the salon professional treatment, that strength and repair, but then how can they extend and continue to repair that hair? And I love how, can you tell me a little bit more about the 0 and 3 and how do you like to tell your clients to use that? Because there are some myths about that as well. A lot of people think that 3 is a what?
A conditioning treatment, and it's not.
It is
well,
not.
With my clients, I always let them know that it's good to do a quick shampoo with our 4C, which is our chelator, our clarifying shampoo, a really quick wash. Then we want to do our 0. Add that on. Leave it on
so I
for
like
10
that.
minutes.
So if someone has a lot of buildup, you like to tell them to go ahead and wash their hair before they put it on there. Now, another tip is you don't necessarily have to. So if someone's an everyday washer, or maybe they don't have much buildup, they could just go ahead and utilize that number 0 or number 3 right onto their hair. But that's a great pro tip to be able to let your clients know, or that you're letting your clients know some proper ways to use that number 0 and our number 3 bond.
Right, because most of my girls do have, they do a lot of their wash and go, so it's product buildup on there. And I just want to make sure that that shaft is clean so that we can get that treatment and they don't say it doesn't work.
So one of the things that I know we've had, this is again, you guys know I love my did you know. So did you know that number 3 works in as little as 3 minutes? So we used to always get a lot of people that are like, I don't have time for that. And of course you can leave it on for up to your 5 to 10 minutes, but you are gonna have effective results after using that for just 3 minutes. And I find that my clients are super happy about that now because they'll put it on their hair, do a load of laundry, jump in the shower because, like we said, it's not a conditioner, it is a pre-shampoo treatment.
You know, people love easy tasks, especially if it's easier and it's helping their lifestyle. They're gonna use it.
They are gonna use it.
And you also leave it on. You don't shampoo it out. You leave that number. Apply that number 3 on top of the 0, and then you shampoo it.
So Nikki loves using our number 7 bonding oil. I feel like that's definitely a key factor in the OLAPLEX and making sure that the hair is not only shiny, but it has heat protection. So she's able to go in and be doing these passes on the hair with that heat protection of up to 450 degrees. So that's a fun fact about our oil, because a lot of times when you think of an oil, I would say that most people, especially our clients, I'm thinking when I'm saying people now, are thinking that they can only use oil on dry hair. And so our number 7 bonding oil can be used on wet or dry hair, right?
It
So
can.
you use this before, during, after.
I do.
All the time. Like you're
do.
just constantly putting number 7 on the hair, right?
Yeah, I love it for the flyaways as well too. Now, I kind of go in between our number 9 and our number 6, depending on the hair texture. Like you have the girls with the really, really dense hair, I do soak it down with that number 9. So that's a cool tip too. And our number 9 would be the first product that you put on as far as our stylers, because it's it's our primer. So you don't want to add that after anything. You want to put it on first.
I like to think of that as like when we're doing our skincare, right? Like we always put our serums and our primers on first before we add makeup or other moisturizers. And so that's the way we like to think of our number 9 here at OLAPLEX. And look at this, you guys. All of this are products that she's been using, but especially that number 7, layering it on, and there's absolutely no heaviness to the hair. There's no separation. It's nearly it's nearly, what's that word? Undetectable? Is that the right word?
It's like glass hair.
Yeah,
like
that glass hair.
A little bit more heat up there.
Yeah, finish that one. When she finishes that one side, I can't wait for you guys to get a close-up one more time of showing how to dispense the number 7, because the bottle does have a really unique dispensing system. And
a
it's
lot
also,
of people shake it too, and that's so funny. I'm gonna have you turn
yeah,
it
they'll
one
shake it,
more
and
time.
that's one thing that's like, really good to the last drop. You can get every last little drop out of that number 7 bonding oil. So when did you come up with the OLAPLEX, Nikki? Tell us a little bit about the history of the OLAPLEX.
Well, I decided that I needed to create something where my clients can look on my service menu and say, I want that. And I don't like to do a la carte. Being that, again, we do lack moisture, right? Most of curly girls like moisture. So it was important for me to be able to create a service where it's all inclusive and be able to make sure that those bonds are locked and we are protecting that hair before we add that double heat on there.
So one of the words that Nikki introduced herself as in her intro was she is an OLAPLEX advocate. So first of all, shout out to all of our OLAPLEX advocates if you're out there watching this wonderful Deepest Bowl virtual hair show. But why don't you tell us a little bit about what that is and really the community that we've built here at OLAPLEX.
It's exactly what it is. We are advocates. We advocate for the brand. We advocate for stylists. We're just all about the professional stylist.
Now, where do you guys like to, what's something, if you wanted to become a part of that community, or where did you really kind of get involved? Because I know obviously nowadays with the internet and all of our social medias is where we get involved, but tell us a little bit about, what it is that...
It's all about knowing the product. It's not necessarily all about the OLAPLEX product. It's about advocating, loving other hairstylists, loving on them, making other people feel good when they post their work, So it's just what it is. It's an advocate. and it all is online.
I love that. So on our Facebook, I know that there's an advocate group that's on there, and there's tons of education that's always going on.
OLAPLEX users.
Yeah, on the OLAPLEX users, I know that you'll find a lot of our advocates are very busy on there, as well as all over Instagram. But I'll tell you what, if you are an OLAPLEX fan and you are somebody who's been using it, you definitely have probably gotten some love and some shout outs from our advocates. We love them. They are definitely the heart of OLAPLEX. So why don't you go ahead and, again, I want to notice a little bit more about that strength and repair standalone treatment. Can you show me how you mix that into the bottle? Because we talked about it being as an additive, but I think it would be really cool just to really let everybody know.
So our standalone treatment is one of my favorite. So it's super easy to use. It's 3 ounces of water. And then if you squeeze, what I really love about this is that we have our measurements on there. So all the way to the top will be the 1/2 ounce. So it's pretty easy. You just squeeze it all the way to the top, add it to the 3 ounces of water. And it's very important to understand that it does not go into a spray bottle. It needs to be in an applicator bottle. You put it together and you just shake it. And I like to use it at the shampoo bowl, and I cover up my shampoo bowl so that you don't waste it. Then you apply right on top of it. You leave it up 3 to 5 minutes. Right on top of it, you add our number 2.
One of my favorite hot tips about using, when we're using the number 1 in the strength and repair standalone treatment at the shampoo bowl, and also even the broad spectrum chelating treatment, is sometimes our profits can go right down that drain, right? So one of the things that I like to do when I'm performing it is put a piece of cellophane, right? Like over that drain.
What I use is the plastic wrap, like the regular saran wrap, and I put it at the bottom of the sink and cover it up, and then that way I can re-dip it out and just continue to put it onto the hair. So yeah, that's a really good tip too.
Yeah, so we love being able to do that. So we let that set for the 5 to 10 minutes, and then you layer on a generous amount of that number 2
I soak that number 2 down. And I like to, actually, where it's a lot of damage, oftentimes it's at the bottom of the hair. So I like to start from the bottom and go up, and I just use my fingers to manipulate it through. And I like to leave it on at least 30 minutes, depending on, you know, how much damage the hair or how much work has been done to it. And then, of course, you have to shampoo it out. Then we go in with our 4-in-1.
I love that. So these are all of our professional only that are able there just for our stylists. So we talked about the promotion that's going on with our salon intro kit. And I'm going to go ahead and share some more of our promotions that we have that are going to be going on until the end of April 14th. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. That was so much fun. We learned about ways to incorporate OLAPLEX in the salon, how to talk to our clients, and the importance of bond maintenance even when they leave our chair. Because again, the healthier the hair, the better our results are gonna look. And so I just, again, wanna thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you, Deepa Squall, for having us again. And I just think that I wanted to take this last little minute before we talk is, again, utilizing all of these amazing promotions that we have, but looking at OLAPLEX in a different way. So I think a lot of times, this is really my challenge for you guys as we leave here over these last few minutes, is a lot of times we think of OLAPLEX as a product. And I want you guys to stretch your brains a little bit, and I want you guys to start thinking about OLAPLEX as a tool. Because this is a tool that, again, is gonna give you that foundation of strong, healthy hair, and that way the creative limits of you as a hairdresser, you as a hairstylist, you as a hair cutter, whatever it is that you're doing behind the chair, OLAPLEX is here to not only help you boost your profits behind the chair, but help you create strong, healthy, lasting hair. So again, remembering that here at OLAPLEX, we are the complete bond builder. So that patented bond building technology has the ability to penetrate deep inside the hair shaft. We're repairing the hair from the inside out, and the results are going to be stronger, shinier, healthy looking hair that not only can you see, but the important thing I talked about earlier with that highlight was that our clients can feel. So when they feel the difference, they're gonna trust and believe, and they're not gonna care what you're charging them to add into that lightener or that color, because their hair is gonna be strong and it's gonna be healthy. So one of the other things I want to talk to you guys about a little bit as we go out is we keep talking about these amazing promotions. So again, thank you, Joe and Dee Pasquale, for giving all of these stylists these amazing promotions. So we talked about that salon intro kit. It rarely goes on promotion. So we want to make sure that you guys are utilizing that so you can boost those profits and we can see all that healthy hair out there. And then we also have the Bond Building Blowout Kit. So this is gonna include our stylers. So this is going to have our number 6 Bond Smoother. This is for anybody that's looking for a really, really nice, smooth blowout. This is gonna help with frizz control and humidity resistance for up to 72 hours. So again, really amazing product if you're looking for that sleek hair finish. Our number 7 bonding oil. I mean, what can we say about this? We love it. Also, check this out in the new Pro size. So if you haven't seen this yet, we also have this in the larger Pro size in the 60 ml. This is the 30 ml. But in the Bond Building Blowout Kit, this is the one you're gonna get. And then again, our volumizing blow dry mist. So this is great on wet or dry hair to refresh any style that it is that you've got going on. So that's what's in our Bond Building Blowout Kit. And then our Foundations of Creativity has our number 4 Bond Maintenance Shampoo, our number 5 Bond Maintenance Conditioner, and then it's got those stylers of number 6 and number 7. So again, we're so happy that we got to hang out with you guys today. If you don't already, go follow us on Instagram, join that OLAPLEX users group on Facebook, and you'll get lots of love from our advocates. And one last thing, if you don't already have our professional app downloaded, go ahead and download that. On that app, you're gonna have your hands-free access to the mixing chart, to our manual. You're gonna be able to get certified, and that way you can learn even all things OLAPLEX that you want. But again, thank you guys on behalf of OLAPLEX. I'm Ashley, and I was so happy to hang out with you guys today. Enjoy the rest of your show.